Welcome back to Sacred Healing and Enchantment. This is your space for all things embodied leadership, magical transformation, and deep dive healing. Whether you are a seeker or a healer, these episodes will offer you personal and professional guidance to bring your magic into the world. Today, I am joined by my friend Regina. Hi. Yay! And Regina is an amazing astrologer, and Regina was over the other day talking about this upcoming transit that she'll tell us about that has to do with money. And the way she was talking about it, I was like, we have to bring this to the community. So then I invited her onto the podcast, and here we are a few days later.
Yay.
We made it happen. Regina, for those who don't know you or your work, would you give us a little intro?
Absolutely. So, of course, I'm Regina. I'm an astrologer and a mystic as well. And in my work, I do astrology readings with the intention of promoting self-growth, with the intention of helping someone see or just acknowledge the parts of themselves that they already know exist and just love on them. Right. And so that's like kind of the basis of my work. I have various programs, but everything's changing in 2026. So for now, I'm doing one-off readings, and exciting things are coming in the future as far as what we'll be developing. But one of those being a school. So I'm really excited.
And you just did a retreat too.
Yes, I just did a retreat, and that was it was more focused on Waning Crescent energy, which is about reflection and release. And we're in the energy of, this last like November, December into early 2026 is kind of like the last look at an energy that we've been in for 7 to 14 years. And it's our time to really learn those last lessons. And those planets were in earth elements and water elements. And so that was very much about being inward and reflective. And so we did that in the retreat. And so there'll be another one in February, and that'll all be about like the upcoming energy of 2026, which is wild and awesome and new, but also air and fire, a lot faster, a lot more obvious on the external, and learning how to integrate that because we're going into a new 7 to 14 year cycle. So it's going to be big for the collective and big for our energies. So that's part 2 that's coming in February as well. But yes.
Fun. Yeah.
New thing, retreats. I haven't done retreats before, but
yeah. Yeah. And I heard from one of the attendees who's also a friend that it was really lovely.
Yay.
Yeah. Hopefully I can go to the next one.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking of all of the changes on the horizon, you had mentioned the specific transit that offers us an opportunity with money and abundance. So can you speak to what that is?
Yeah, so today, on the day we're recording this, so November 7th at 9:19 Eastern Standard Time, Uranus will go back into the sign of Taurus. And so we've had a 7-year cycle with this energy, and we had a little bit of a glimpse into Uranus in Gemini, which is about communication and technology and connection. And now we're going back to Taurus, and anytime something's in Taurus, it's really going to have us focused on our resources and how we're resourced, our sense of security, our money. So this is a really big one, and Uranus is kind of the planet that is essentially about shaking things up and breaking from the norm. And so as a result, because later on today, it'll be at 29 degrees. And so this is going to be a big time, and a time where the planet is going to feel really loud to us as a collective and just individually as well. So anytime a planet's at 29 degrees, it's at the crisis degree or the karmic degree, and it's very much a big karmic calling to listen to that energy. So we're in it. We're going to be in it from November 7th to December 2nd, and Uranus will be in Taurus until April of 2026. So we have that last lesson for that chunk of time. But the biggest part of it is this 29 degree sort of peak. So we have it for the next month. It's basically going to show us in our lives where we really need to financially pivot, where we need to awaken to wealth in different ways and a different way forward. How are we resourced? Maybe not from the mainstream. This is like Uranus is the planet of awakenings and just these new insights that come as downloads or lightning strikes within our consciousness. And so we're here to like really understand what it is to be resourced and how do we financially pivot and what really, what is security?
Wow.
So big questions.
Yeah, I feel like we see those questions being answered, or not answered, asked in the collective at large with like the government budget reconciliation
Yes.
bill and like the shutdown, and looking at how are we funding these programs that really are in service of those who are needing them. And like,
Yes.
it's interesting to kind of be in awareness of that with this transit, and I wonder what we can learn from what's happening collectively, individually. What I see a lot of people responding to that energy with is like, well, now we need to focus on community care and really
Yes.
supporting and uplifting each other on a micro level.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think we'll see more of that once Uranus goes back into Gemini, because it's going to be like connection, community, youth is a big theme with Gemini as well. And with Taurus, what we're going to see is like a lot of breaking of the norm, because it is Earth. We're going to be thinking practically about like, okay, these resources that we are left with, what are we going to do with it? And also, what is no longer bringing me peace, but is keeping me resourced? I've got to get rid of that. I've got to try something new. So there's going to be just a lot of shakeups. Since it's an earth sign, a lot of times you actually might feel the physical earth move during this last bit. So it's like, it could rule over earthquakes. It could rule over tsunamis and just things that happen with the earth, because it's a very physical sign. And so yeah, the resourcing is going to be really interesting, because Taurus is ruled by Venus and it's the earth side of Venus. And so it is a lot about money. So in a very practical sense, we'll be like, okay, practically moving forward, or maybe even what we thought was impractical becomes practical now because we're seeing it in a new and different way. So it's really going to stretch our minds, and it's going to be really interesting to see how we work with it, because some of us might experience like certain financial pivots, and it's a neutral energy. It could be like a pivot that like teaches you a really interesting lesson, or it could be a pivot that like you have a financial windfall and it's wonderful and all these resources are coming through because you tried something different and you tried something new. So neutral energy, and how do we want to work with it?
Yeah.
And the other thing I want to say is that we got a glimpse of this mid-June of this year into early July. So like the first week of July. So it was at 29 degrees, and the planet was about to enter Gemini. And so at least for me, I had a lot of lovely financial pivots. And I will say this energy is a little bit different than that because it's retrograde now. And so all of these feelings we might feel, and we might see collectively as a society, but we're going to feel it more internally. So perfect time to really think about how we want to awaken to this new energy, and how we want to awaken to like new and different ways of being resourced and feeling resourced. And what is that like? And is money even the way that we want to go anymore? Really stretching our minds to enjoy this energy. June to July, that was external energy. It was almost like it was happening for you, but kind of like in your external reality a little bit more. So for me, my fridge broke, my food all went bad. Like it was like a whole thing. And then my car windows broke. Like so many things were happening where I was like, oh my goodness. But then it was like, as we were fixing these things, almost like gratitude that we could pivot, that we could fix these things, that we could, thank you for alerting me to the fact that my fridge was dying and I had no idea. It was like a sudden just death. Yeah. So, and so this time around, we're going to feel it so much more in our own energy and internally, and things are going to feel different. At times things are going to feel constrained, or at times things are going to feel really abundant. And so like watching the energy within yourself too, and figuring out, okay, what is Uranus trying to teach me here?
Well, yeah, I remember that specific time in the summer being a very disorienting time in my business, because I had just come out of the first trimester, entering into the second trimester, and I'd like re-entered my business after taking time off. And I was like disoriented because so much of what had been working before wasn't working the way that I had expected it to. Yeah. So it did require some pivots. But then I created all of these new offerings.
I love that you said that, because that's exactly what this energy is offering us, right? It's like going to be like, oh, same old is not working. Like we could use anyone as an example. I mean, during this 7-year period, I left my corporate job. I happened to be a Taurus sun, and Uranus hit my sun. And it was just like, can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I have to try something new. And then walking in the woods, astrology came to me. It was like an old friend, but I was like, oh, now I'm like totally pivoting, and I'm going on a deep dive, and I'm changing my life. That's how impactful this planet can be. And it just really can help you open your eyes to new and different possibilities that have just never been done before. So like in the coaching world, for instance, you're probably going to see a lot of innovation of the way that we approach our clients and the way that we consult with people. I think this could really revolutionize things. If we just take this last lesson of like, okay, resourcing, how are we resourced and how do we want to be resourced in the world? And then apply it when Uranus goes into Gemini in April, back to Gemini in April, and it's direct. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah. So I wonder if we got this like snapshot preview in the summer. Like the lesson that I learned is really looking at what the needs are around you and helping to fill those needs, which is very similar to what we're seeing on the macro level of like, what are the needs around us in our communities and how can we show up to fill those needs? And I wonder if that's the question that we ask personally and, professionally and collectively of like, where are the gaps?
Where are the gaps?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's fantastic. I think Uranus can definitely help with that, especially since, it's a planet that is collectively minded, just in general. And we're going to get this lesson again. Yeah. I haven't actually looked up the dates for 2026, but because it's retrograde right now at the 30th degree, 29 degrees, it's going to happen again. Yeah. So
coming in waves.
So it usually happens 3 times. And so this is our second time experiencing 29 degrees of Taurus, Uranus and Taurus. And then it'll retrograde back a number of degrees. And then when it's on its way back to Gemini, we'll get that last lesson, and it'll be like the one in the summer that we both experienced, because it'll be direct and it'll be about our external reality for the most part. So I would say take this opportunity while it's retrograding back to this 29 degrees, which we call the 30th degree in astrology. I know it's like weird, but back to the 30th degree, we have an opportunity to really stretch our minds and do the work ourselves, because it is a softer energy being retrograde. Sometimes it feels stronger for some people, especially if you have it retrograde in your chart. So you could still experience things in your external reality that can teach you lessons, but there's so much more room and bendability to like work with the energy ourselves and play with it. So it's an opportunity to really play with how you're resourced, play with how your values too, and how you want to show your values out in the world and out in the community too.
Okay. So one of the things that struck me that you are tapping into now is like, this is a neutral energy, but it's coming to shake up resources, finances, money.
Yes.
So it could shake it up either way. It could be challenging and giving you lessons to learn, or it could be a windfall.
Yes.
And like full on abundance. So how do we spin this energy towards a more positive experience?
Yeah. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Where focus goes, energy flows. So really focusing in on, what are your values? What are your values in how, and are you making money in a way that is aligned with your values? Because if not, a lot of times, the planetary lesson will come to put you into alignment, right? And so trying to reconcile the two. How are you making money in the world? Does it align with your values? Is it something, Taurus also rules over harmony and peace, right? And so, because it's Venus. So the way you're resourced, is it bringing you peace or is it bringing you stress? Is it wreaking havoc on your life? Like what is that? Just staying in the energy and taking a look at these areas in your life. Of course, it's always helpful if you know a little bit of astrology, if you know your chart and you know where Taurus is in your chart. It's helpful to kind of look at that house and see, okay, let me spend some time here and reflect and, switch things up. I'm a Cancer rising, so it's in my 11th house of community and networks and technology as well. So I'm going to be really focusing the next couple of months really on how I engage in community, how I'm resourced through community, my friendships, all kinds of things are kind of all up for review. But money is always going to be the theme as well, too. So, yeah.
That's so fascinating. If I'm a Taurus moon, what does that mean?
Oh, if you're a Taurus moon, so it depends on the degree, right? Okay. So if you're a late Taurus moon, then Uranus would come to your moon, and that would affect like your mothering even. It would affect your emotional world. There would be a moment of you really needing creative freedom and allowing yourself to do it. So if you ignore these things, right, what happens when Uranus comes to your moon is that you end up just like, I don't know, going outside and like never coming back in. No, it's just you end up essentially like having emotional volatility because you're not understanding what the energy is trying to tell you. Oh. Right? You end up being like, I need some time alone. I need space. I need to like just disengage from everything that is because you don't understand what the energy is trying to tell you. In reality, it's just saying you want to try something new and different in your motherhood, or you want to try something new and different in your emotional space, or you really need emotional freedom and creativity, right? And so if you just allow for that, then it works. And you actually get these creative insights that come through, and the planet is really just like speaking to you in a way that's super aligned with your energy.
Fun. Well, I'm definitely trying something new in my mother.
Yes, there you go.
Perfect. Recent mom of two.
Yes.
So beautiful. I wonder, for those who are thinking about this energy and how to work with it, is it a time for big moves, like big risky, like leap of faith moves?
So that's a really great question, and that depends. So leap of faith is really a great keyword for Jupiter. And if you're talking like November, December, I would say depends. It depends. Okay. I don't like shooting people, but great leaps of faith, those sort of actions. I would say November is a really, I don't want to say it's a sleepy month because you could, of course, you can move forward and propel forward with whatever you're doing. But November has Mercury retrograde, which really affects like communication. November has Jupiter stationing retrograde, but Jupiter stationed retrograde for a really, really long time. So leaps of faith, it's going to be a different approach. We're going to have Saturn will move direct, but Saturn's retrograde for most of November. We have so many planets kind of going inward. And so it's almost a time of reflection and refining. I would say if you're a business owner, for instance, and you want to like launch something completely new, to continue to refine it through the process, honor the retrograde of like, you need to reflect and refine and continue to build on what you already have. I never like to tell people not to launch something during Mercury retrograde, which is usually what people say. It really depends on your chart. But if you're particularly mercurial, like you're a Virgo rising or a Gemini rising, or you have a lot of planets in either of the signs, or you have things in Sagittarius, because that's where the Mercury retrograde's happening, pay attention to that and, move forward with caution, obviously, because there's just so many mistakes that happen during the Mercury retrograde that you just want to be cognizant of. So if you're going to move forward where you're like dotting your I's, crossing your T's, and you make sure you have like kind of communication pretty straightforward, and just allow grace for the mishaps that happen, because Mercury very much affects technology. So, and the meetings that are missed because it wasn't on their calendar properly, and, something, or your packages that don't come on time if you're like needing something for an event. It's just, that's what Mercury retrograde does and brings. And if you're going to move forward, just make sure that you have like backups on backups, essentially. So taking leaps of faith in November, absolutely. However, there are going to be times where you're going to need to kind of like move slowly, move with caution, move with reflection, because everything's turning inward right now. And it's great if you're in the Northeast, because we're all cocooning at this point. So yeah, I guess that's my response.
Yeah. So just a little bit of like diligence, discernment.
Yes.
As you're navigating how you want to spend some of this abundance energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the manifestor in me hears this and is like, okay, like I'm going to do something big to like invite in this abundance and tap into, what's available. But then hearing the retrograde, I'm like, okay, so what does that look like?
It's the both and, right? It's the both and. I would say like, Jupiter retrograde brings, because that's happening this month too, that brings a different type of energy to the planet of luck and faith. And so I always like to, it depends on what you like doing with these planets, or if you just like knowing the energy. I like to work with Jupiter all the time. And so when it's retrograde, I literally spend every day in gratitude. I have a little altar. I sit with the planet for a little bit because it's very much this internal energy. And I've had some of the luckiest breaks during Jupiter retrograde. So it's not that you don't do things, but it's more like reflective. So before you take that leap of faith, is it truly in alignment with your own truth, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
So take your leap of faith. However, things are just a little slower, and even you're feeling like as these planets retrograde this month might be more reflective anyway. So check your energy. If you're feeling like, okay, I want to move forward with something, then always go with what you're feeling. But, the planets are there to aid.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's a good opportunity then for people who want to work with the energy of abundance to maybe not like launch something or start something brand new, but be in the planning phase of it while simultaneously working on their relationship to money. Like,
absolutely.
Is that
you hit on such a good keyword too with Taurus, because again, ruled by Venus, and Venus rules over relationships. And so relationship to money is a huge one. And even like your relationship, if you're partnered within your partnership too, like this is a big time to look at it, and like some pivots and changes might be encouraged during this time too. So yeah, your relationship to money is huge. Like really focusing in on that is going to be great. And then the planning phase, creating something like with those downloads that Uranus is going to give you around these things. So if you feel in your bones, in your spirit that you need to launch it in November, absolutely launch it, do it. Or if you want to like talk about it or give a sneak peek to people, do it. Sounds great. But planning, the reflection, the planning, the course creation aspect of things, so great during this time. And continuing to refine it, because as Mercury becomes direct at the end of the month, which is, I think it's on the 29th, it becomes direct. It's going retrograde on the 9th, becoming direct on the 29th. You might find that you want to restart some of the things you created during the retrograde. So that's why I'm like, this is great for planning, but it will continue to evolve as your energy shifts and changes when the planet becomes direct, because your thought process changes during this time.
So it's a time for like inner work, a time for revisiting, reflecting things you've already been working on, refining, and maybe not the time to like launch something, maybe not the time to like sign up for something new, like revisit the resources you already have.
I agree with that. Yeah.
But then later in the month in December, perhaps that's the time to then like bring things out to the world, to say yes to things.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yeah. December brings a different energy. November is like the start of the cocoon. And it's like, there's loads of planets that will still be retrograde, but really the ones that are closer to us, like Mercury, really affect kind of our day to day. So I'm always like, Mercury, you may want to pay attention to this reflection time. And the other ones are retrograde for so long, and we really feel it when they start to become retrograde, and then when it ends as well, and they become direct. So Uranus will be there. We will be in the lesson of Earth and resources until April of next year, and it'll just be super loud until December 2nd. So now until December 2nd, it'll be very loud. It'll be a little volatile. So you want to kind of pay attention to what's going on within your finances, within your sense of abundance, within your relationships and your values. Just pay attention, because right now it's at a like very karmic point. So it's loud, and it's there to teach kind of those wonderful lessons and awakenings. But yeah, this month I would say let's reflect.
Yeah. And perhaps doing like some rituals for reconnecting your relationship to money, perhaps doing some deconditioning work around money mindset that is, not serving you, that is extractive, that is rooted in the not enoughness.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, even just collectively, like looking at what's happening, on the land that we live, it's like so much of it is there's not enough. Like how we're not allocating our resources in a smart way. And then the messaging is like, because there's not enough.
Always. Yeah. Yeah. That's always the messaging. And we're moving past that. I mean, if you think of like the image in my head that just came up was like dry, crusty earth, Uranus is literally peeling it away. Like we have these like old methods of, or these old thoughts of scarcity, or these old thoughts of how things work and how it works on the 3D. And like Uranus is here to blow it all up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in the school of that last lesson of like, okay, these old crusty things that we used to abide by just no longer are relevant anymore, no longer true.
Yeah. I can't help but think of the manifestation strategy that I have found to be really powerful and work really well, which is whatever you want to receive, you give out into the world. That's not to like be in the mindset of like give everything you have away,
right.
and thinking that you'll receive, everything tenfold. Though I'm sure that happens for some people, but more in like if you want to receive more in your friendships, invest more in your friendships. If you want to receive more in your business, uplift other businesses.
Yes. Yeah.
If you want to receive more in your relationship, pour into your relationship. It's like that intentionality of energy.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. It's like right in line with the law of divine compensation too. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. I feel like perhaps that'll help spin some of the abundance energy, because then you're moving from a place of like there is enough to share, and intentionally being in a place of offering abundance to your life in all different areas.
Oh my gosh. As you're saying this, I have like the image of like the earth just like growing and like flowers blooming and all the things. And that's what Taurus represents, right? So it's the earth side of Venus, and it's fertile. It's like a fertile land, right? And because it's Venus, it is about connection. It is about other people. And so we live collectively together on this planet, and there is actually things that you can see on the earth completely in abundance, completely just teaching us that it is all there for us, and as long as we're not overly extractive with it, everyone can have a piece.
Yeah.
So I don't know, as you were saying that, I was like, I love that.
Yeah. There are a couple of plants I'm thinking of. So there's a plant in the garden right now, the black walnut tree, and this is such a metaphor. The black walnut will put its roots out into the earth and will actually release a toxin in the earth to all of the plants around it that are near its roots that kill the other plants, because it wants to extract all the resources and it doesn't want to have any competing plants around it.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a really powerful survival strategy, but it's also like brutal.
Yes.
That is not the energy we want to be in.
No, we're going to do the opposite of the
So
black
there's
walnut
another
tree.
plant, and this is a plant we all know and love. Just beans, like regular, like green beans.
Yeah.
Beans will restore the nutrients in the soil. Will actually put nitrogen in the soil. So what grows around beans grows in more abundance.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
So if you plant beans, this is like a traditional indigenous planting strategy, which is the Three Sisters Garden. So it's beans, pumpkin, and corn. And they all synergistically work together in the soil, giving each other the different nutrients the other one needs to grow in abundance. And when they're all three planted together, they give us as humans all of the nutrients we need. You get the protein from beans, you get all of the vitamins from pumpkin, and then you get the carbohydrate starch from corn. So you could subsist off of that and be like fine theoretically. And so that's the energy.
That's the energy we want to move into. We want to be beans, corn, and pumpkin.
The Three Sisters. Yeah, well, it's synergy, it's collective care. It's not competing. Right? It's not looking at like, wow, look at me, pumpkin. I'm so much better than corn. It's like, no, the more that I grow, the more that I put into the soil, the more that these other plants grow alongside me.
That makes my heart sing. I just absolutely love I love that. I'm actually going to take that into my energy and like remember that as we move forward into, especially this month. There's going to be so many things that make it apparent that we do need to change things up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But even with the black walnut in the garden, like obviously that's a very extractive, like brutal survival strategy that plant has. But there's so much thriving around it in spite of.
Oh, wow.
Like all of the raspberries grow alongside the black walnut and just continue to like propagate themselves.
Ooh.
And I have my peach tree close to the black walnut, which had a ton of peaches this year. So I feel like in spite of there being like literally toxic energy,
I am so
things are
glad
thriving.
you said that. It's making me think of just collectively where we are. Because again, this planetary energy is neutral, but it doesn't mean that we won't be experiencing almost like the last hurrah of negative energy out there, right? That scarcity mindset, it might actually peak during this time. You know, these last couple of months where we have Uranus and Taurus, we might feel this pinch because that's what the energy around us is telling us. But then we need to be like the peach tree and survive in spite of what's going on with the black walnut tree, because we are resilient and we don't actually have to play into collective fear. We don't have to play into the collective energy that's saying there's not enough, that it's dog eat dog out there. You have to compete, all of this stuff. Like we don't have to engage into that frequency of energy. And as that energy is going on, we're in the energy of the pumpkin and the green beans and the corn and surviving in spite of being right next to that frequency, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Wow.
I know.
Thank you for that.
Lessons from the earth.
Yes, always. And that's essentially what Taurus is, like the earth, like fertility, the everything. So,
Yeah.
wow.
So fun. Are there any other takeaways that you think people need to carry with them?
I don't think I have any remarkable takeaways, but this is again, it's an energy to play with, and it's supposed to be fun. Life is supposed to be fun and an experiment. And even when it seems like the pivot that you had to experience is hard, and hopefully not debilitating, because I'm not expecting that with this energy and I'm not even putting that out there, just know that it is going to show you something new.
Yeah.
And that we could always thrive in spite of. Like the peach tree, and you said another tree too, raspberry.
The raspberries.
The raspberries.
Yeah, and they propagate. They'll like raspberries will fall into the earth, and a brand new raspberry will emerge.
Love that.
Yeah,
I love that. So again, as long as we're engaging in the world we want to see, and we're kind of being the change we want to see as well, like it drops nuggets for other people to enjoy and to have faith and hope with as well. So I think it's going to be a great energy. I don't think that it's going to be a doom and gloom, but I do know we have some collective forces out there that kind of make it, when there's a feeling of something going away, people tend to like hold on tight to things. And that might be, our social, conventions, and it might be our government, it might be whatever it is. So it might feel like we're at a peak of extraction, or like we're at a peak of feeling like there's not enough out there, because there's this feeling of, oh no, it's going away. Like we've got to hold on to this power. We've got to hold on to this narrative, because I feel like the people aren't getting it or believing it anymore. And so let's do something extreme to keep it in place. So
yeah.
Let's just hold on to the fact that this planetary energy is neutral, and that we can play with it the way that we want to.
Yeah, we don't have to buy into the way that the collective may be playing with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can do the opposite. Do our own little Three Sisters abundance.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, helping each other.
I'm seriously going to keep that in my heart and soul. I love it.
Yeah, actually, if you want to, there's I think a whole chapter or like segment on it in Braiding Sweetgrass, the book.
Oh my gosh, I have the book. I have to read it.
Yeah. There's a whole section on Three Sisters in there. But even before I read that book, I was growing the Three Sisters in the garden, and they do grow well together.
Yeah.
It's really sweet to see.
Oh my gosh, awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It was so fun. And where can people find you and work with you?
Yeah. So my website and my business name right now is The Celestial Womb. And so the website's thecelestialwomb.love. And on Instagram, it's just my full name. I'm at Regina Verret Foster, so you can connect with me that way as well too.
Yay. Can I also interject for people that you're a doula, have a past as a doula. And so I feel like, especially for people who are moms or like calling in motherhood, like you are definitely somebody to work with because you have such a beautiful view of the motherhood experience, and that whole other part of your wisdom, I think, just supports people in a deeper way.
Thank you. I love, yes, I actually mostly work with mothers and families, but I absolutely, it's a really special part of my life, I think.
Yeah. Yay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you'll connect with Regina. I'm going to link her website and Instagram in the show notes. And if you want to tap into the energy that we talked about today, I would love to invite you into the Enchanted Abundance experience. This is a free 1 hour long workshop that I have ready and waiting for you. It is part manifestation ritual, part liberation from toxic capitalism, and part awakening of your soul's calling. It is absolutely free. I'm going to link it in the show notes, and I do hope that you will watch it. You can also listen to it as another podcast episode. There's so much magic waiting in there for you. And if you want to explore any of my other offerings, I will link my website in the show notes as well. As always, I would love to hear from you. Please send me a message on Instagram at Melanie Rose Monaco, or send me an email at melanie@melaniemonaco.com. I would love to hear your thoughts and ideas and any inspiration that came through with this episode, along with what you would like to hear about in future episodes as well. I am intentionally, actively growing this podcast, and it would mean the world to me if you would like, rate, comment, review, share, follow, subscribe, do anything that you feel called to help spread the word about this podcast, to offer feedback and get it in front of more people who could really utilize the magic that we're creating here. I'm so grateful for your support, and I can't wait to see you soon on another episode.